Today is December 23rd, 2024. My name is Rob Carr of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. Well, we are 2 days away from Christmas, and this will be the last program of mine until next week. So I hope you're all ready to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. Two things on the program today, both of them really good news, exciting developments. And I'm going to read the first one here. The article comes from lifenews.com, a website that I frequently use as a resource. The United States Supreme Court agreed December 18th, which is just last week, to hear a case examining whether Planned Parenthood can be a Medicaid designated provider after the abortion giant sued South Carolina for determining that the organization, Planned Parenthood, is ineligible. The law organization Alliance Defending Freedom, this is a group that we love, ADF, we love the work they do. They're representing South Carolina's Department of Health and Human Services Director, Robert Kerr, in the case, Kerr versus Planned Parenthood South Atlantic. So that's the name of the case that's going to go before the Supreme Court. The petitioners appealed to the Supreme Court after the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit sided with Planned Parenthood South Atlantic back in April. According to the appeal to the Supreme Court, South Carolina had determined in 2018 that Planned Parenthood South Atlantic was ineligible to be a provider under Medicaid because it commits or performs abortions. Here's a quote from ADF Senior Counsel John Bursch. He said this back on December 18th in a press release. Now, for those of you who are paying attention, John Bursch lives in the Grand Rapids area, and he was our guest speaker this past May for the Kalamazoo Right to Life Focus on Life dinner to raise money for Right to Life in Michigan. So we know John Bursch. He is a sharp attorney. Works for a great organization. He's really a great guy. Okay, so this is what he said. Quote, taxpayer dollars should never be used to fund facilities that make a profit off abortion, unquote. So just a brief little statement, but it goes to the heart of the issue of taxpayer money, tax dollars going for Planned Parenthood through this Medicaid providing. So good news for the Supreme Court. It's a conservative court. I think they are open to what states can do. You know, the Dobbs decision, returning abortion policies back to the states. It's no longer a federal issue. So there's a very good chance that the Supreme Court, the majority, may rule that states can declare Planned Parenthood ineligible because they perform abortions. Okay. Second item, and this happened on Friday, and if you get our newsletter, go on the Right to Life website, you'll see our newsletter. The cover story talks about these two pro-abortion bills that had been before the State House. This is this lame duck session before the end of the year when, come January 1st, Republicans would take control of the House and deny Governor Whitmer the ability to pass pro-abortion legislation for the next 2 years. And I've talked about these two bills, I believe it was a week or two ago. You know, it was just, this 11th hour lame duck session. They're going to pass this thing through because they have the votes. Well, apparently they did not have the votes. What happened was last week, the Republicans in the House, the State House in Lansing, decided to basically boycott the session and stay home. They just did not show up for work. And according to the rules of the House, you have to have a quorum to do business. And right now, currently, the makeup of the state house in Lansing is 56 Democrats and 54 Republicans. So it's the slimmest of all majorities. And you needed 56 to do business. And lo and behold, one state rep, Democrat from Detroit, Karen Whitsett, decided to go along with the Democrats, basically, and stay home last week. And she's the gal, she's the representative who voted pro-life on 2 of those 9 bills in the Reproductive Health Act from last year. And she denied the ability to get all 11 bills passed. I mean, yeah, she's still pro-choice, and she voted pro-abortion on the other 9. But here, just late last week, she decided to stay home and not show up for work. And so now you had 55 House members, but that would be 55. It's not a majority. You needed 56. So they couldn't do business. Now, the issue was not these 2 bills, these 2 pro-abortion bills. The issue had to do with a lot of other bills, including minimum wage increases and different things like that. It didn't really have to do with our issues, these 2 bills. But what happened, in effect, was because the Republicans boycotted last week, these 2 bills died. They just died. And even the Speaker of the House, Democrat, said that we're just going to gavel the session on New Year's Eve and just basically say we're done for the year, and they'll end the session, and no legislation will be enacted from now until next year, when the pro-life Republican majority takes over, and things will change. They're not necessarily going to pass pro-life legislation because the state Senate is still pro-abortion. So, they would block it, and Whitmer would veto a pro-life bill if it were to pass. So I'm not saying we're going to get things done, but what I am saying is, come January, we're stopping her, Gretchen Whitmer, we're stopping her from signing pro-abortion bills. That will end come January 1st. But I'm so excited that they pulled their ace card, and the Democrats have done this before during maybe 20 years ago, when Governor Engler might have been governor. But it has happened in the past by the Democrats, and the Republicans have not done it. So good news for pro-lifers in Michigan. These 2 bills, one had to do with a sex ed curriculum that was going to include abortion advertising and counseling and promotion. That's gone. And the other bill had to do with the state blocking pregnancy care centers the ability to communicate with a woman who might be contemplating an abortion. You had to be over 1,850 feet away. Well, Alternative Kalamazoo is right across the street, well within that 1,800 foot margin. So good news for them, good news for us, and bad news for the Democrats as we end 2024, a historic year from Donald Trump's political resurrection. You think about the stuff that he went through, not just this past year, but in his career as president, 2 impeachments, the Russian collusion investigation with the special counsel Mueller, and then the January 9 issue, and all this lawfare, all these lawsuits against him, 2 assassination attempts, you name it. They try to destroy his business. They've done so much to go after this man. And normally you'd think that guy's dead in the water, but he was reelected with more votes than he had last time, and he actually won a majority of the votes from the American public. So it's been an amazing year. Donald Trump wins. Joe Biden stumbles in the debate. He is basically removed. Kamala Harris steps in, runs a terrible campaign, and man, it was just an amazing historic year. And I hope you appreciate that as well as we move into 2025. With that, I will let you go, and I'll see you next time.